On a quiet Tuesday afternoon, a sharp knock yanked Catherine Wells away from her laptop.
Not expecting anyone. Maybe a delivery.
Hey, Katie, you're even prettier in person.
He held up his phone, proudly displaying a Tinder profile. Her face, her smile, but the name read Katie.
I think you have the wrong person. That's not my name.
But we matched on Tinder. We've been chatting for 2 weeks. You said you lived here.
This is my photo. Someone's been using it. The air left my lungs. You need to leave. That profile isn't me. I didn't make it.
Wait, what? If this is some game, I drove 40 minutes for this.
The door clicked shut, and Catherine stood frozen in the hallway, her own smiling face still burning on the stranger's phone. 3 days later, another knock rattled the door. Catherine's stomach dropped before she even reached the handle.
You have got to be kidding me.
Are you Bianca? We were supposed to meet for coffee.
Where did you get my photo?
Your profile on Bumble. Name's Bianca, 28. Are you sure you don't remember? We've been chatting for a week.
The name was different, but the violation was the same. 10 days later, a third man arrived, looking more anxious than the first two.
I'm sorry to bother you, but I feel like I've been played. You, not Veronica. Are you?
3 different names, 3 different apps. Someone is doing this deliberately.
She took pictures of his phone screen. Evidence, she told herself. Of what? She still didn't know.
My real profiles are private. How are they getting these photos?
2 weeks later, the pounding on her door rattled the hinges. This knock carried rage.
What now?
Open up. I know you are in there. We had a deal.
She opened the door to a man in a rumpled jacket, his phone already thrust forward like an accusation.
You, Kelsey? I sent you $480 for an emergency car repair. Cash App, right here.
Not just photos, money. This is a whole operation. Sir, I promise you, that's not me. But I want to help. Show me the number you were texting. Got it. A phone number. Now I have something real.
She calmed him, promised to look into it, and sent him away with her own phone number. That evening, she sat with her laptop, the stranger's number glowing on her screen like a fuse waiting to be lit. She typed the number into a reverse phone directory, her fingers cold on the keyboard.
That can't be right.
The screen refreshed, and there it was, Janet Wells, her younger sister's name.
No. It's a mistake. Please be a mistake.
In a daze, she opened a reverse image search, dragged her own photo into the engine, and hit enter. Results poured across the screen. 3 active profiles, different names, all using her face.
Katie, Bianca, Veronica, all her. Janet's been playing me for months.
She cross-referenced the phone number, the same one on each profile. It belonged to Janet's prepaid line.
My own sister turned my face into a con. How many men did she bleed dry?
She picked up her phone, Janet's contact glowing on the screen. Her thumb hovered, then froze. She couldn't press call, not yet. The next morning, Catherine's thumb finally moved. The phone rang twice before Janet's bright, casual voice answered.
Kat, I was just thinking about you. What's going on? Hey, Janet, I got a weird text from a number I didn't recognize. I wanted to check. Is this still your prepaid line?
A pause. Then Janet's tone clipped, losing its warmth.
Yeah, that's my number. Why? What's this about? Because 4 men have shown up at my door with dating profiles using my face, and every single one traces back to you. What? That's insane. Someone must have stolen my pictures too. You know how the internet is? It's probably a prank. She's not even a good liar. The words came too fast, too rehearsed. Are you seriously accusing me? I can't believe this. I don't have time for your drama.
The line went dead. Catherine stared at the screen, then opened her laptop. She would build a file that left no room for denial. She emailed Mike, David, and Tom, asking for every message and transaction. Within 2 days, her inbox filled with forwarded chat logs and Cash App receipts.
Emergency car repair, late rent, medical bill for my mom, the same script every time.
She printed everything. The paper stack grew thick as she cross-referenced dates and fake names. With a highlighter, she marked the patterns, all between 200 and 500, all claiming a sudden crisis.
The first plea for money dated back 14 months, right when Janet lost her job at the call center.
The timeline was damning. Janet had built this scheme the moment her income vanished.
4 men I know of, but if she's been running these profiles for over a year, how many more are there?
She compiled the names, amounts, and dates into a single spreadsheet, a record of fraud she could hand to anyone. Now, holding the folder, she faced a choice: bury it to protect her family, or walk it into a police station. 3 days later, Catherine sat across from Janet at her sister's cluttered apartment for what Janet called a peace dinner. Janet chattered about a movie she'd seen, but Catherine's eyes tracked every nervous tick, every glance toward her bag. Janet excused herself to the bathroom. The moment the door clicked, Catherine's gaze dropped to the bag's open zipper.
A spiral notebook, exactly like the one Dad used for inventory. What are you hiding in there, Janet?
She opened it. Handwritten, cramped lists: Mike, 350. David, 200. And on and on. 31 names. Next to each name, a date, a fake crisis, and a Cash App amount. Janet's ledgers of fraud, coolly itemized. With shaking hands, Catherine pulled out her phone and photographed every single page. She slid the notebook back into the bag just as the bathroom door swung open. Janet reappeared, smiling. The rest of the dinner passed in a blur. Catherine could barely taste the food.
31 victims. Over 14 months. This isn't a mistake. It's a business. And Janet built it on my face.
The next morning, Catherine walked into her mother's kitchen, carrying the folder, her jaw set hard.
Honey, what's wrong? You look like you haven't slept.
Mom, you need to see this. It's about Janet.
Eleanor's hands trembled as she sifted through the screenshots, the highlighted conversations, the list of names.
She's your sister. She didn't mean any harm. She just got in over her head. We can fix this ourselves.
Fix it? Mom, there are 31 names here. 31 people she lied to and stole from, using my face.
We'll pay them back. Every cent. Just please don't send her to jail. She's family.
She's twisting it, making me the villain if I don't protect the person who did this.
Catherine gently pulled free, gathered the evidence, and left her mother weeping at the table.
She thinks this is about forgiveness. It's about 31 men who got conned, and a sister who won't even apologize.
A week crawled by. Catherine barely slept, her mother's pleas looping in her head.
If I stay silent, I am complicit. But if I turn her in, I lose what's left of my family.
She met Eric at a downtown coffee shop. The same man who'd pounded on her door now sat slumped, defeated.
That $480 was my rent money. I almost got evicted because of your sister.
I never knew. I am so sorry.
He showed her the eviction notice on his phone. The document was crumpled and fresh with his frustration.
This is just one of 31. How many others are drowning in debt because Janet wanted quick cash?
That night, she opened the folder and laid out every piece of evidence. She added a photo of the eviction notice.
I am done protecting someone who destroys strangers to buy herself new shoes.
She typed a detailed timeline, stapled the screenshots, and sealed the whole case into a manila envelope. Tomorrow, she'd walk it into Denver PD. The next morning, Catherine stood outside Denver PD, the manila envelope clamped under her arm.
This is the point of no return. Once I walk through those doors, I can't take it back.
She pushed through the glass doors and asked for the fraud division. A detective named Harris emerged, his expression unreadable.
Miss Wells, I am Detective Harris. You said on the phone you had evidence of identity theft and wire fraud.
Catherine nodded, unsealed the envelope, and spread the contents across his desk. Screenshots, the notebook photos, the Cash App records.
My sister Janet Wells has been using my photos to catfish men on dating apps. She's defrauded at least 31 people.
Harris flipped through the pages, his brow furrowing at the handwritten list of names.
This is thorough. The notebook alone gives us probable cause for a warrant. We'll start with her financial records.
He copied the digital files onto a secure drive, then had Catherine sign an official statement. As she walked out, Catherine felt a strange, hollow relief. The machine was in motion. What happened next was out of her hands. 3 days later, Catherine's phone buzzed with a call from Detective Harris.
Miss Wells, we need you to come in. The warrant turned up more than we expected.
She drove to the station, her stomach twisting into a knot. Detective Harris guided her to his office, where a thick file sat open on the desk.
Your sister didn't just catfish. She opened 2 credit cards and a personal loan in your name.
Credit cards. A loan? Janet didn't just steal from strangers. She stole from me.
He slid a printout across the desk. 2 maxed cards and a $9,200 loan, all in Catherine's name.
Total fraud exceeds $15,000. We're adding identity theft and forgery charges.
Catherine filed the additional report on autopilot, her signature a scrawl.
My own sister didn't just use my face. She tried to ruin my credit. There's no coming back from this.
48 hours later, past midnight, a Denver PD tactical team assembled outside Janet Wells' apartment. Janet was jolted awake by the crash of forced entry. Men in tactical gear flooded her bedroom.
What the? Who are you? Get out.
Denver PD. We have a warrant for your arrest. Janet Wells.
She scrambled backwards on the mattress, but Harris caught her wrist and clicked the cuffs tight. Officers moved through the apartment, bagging her laptop, her phone, and the spiral notebook. One held up the evidence bag, the notebook's pages still visible through the plastic, with Catherine's face on a printed screenshot.
This is about my sister, isn't it? She did this.
Harris didn't answer. He read her rights as they walked her out to the patrol car. The call to Catherine would come within the hour. At 2:17 a.m., Catherine's phone screamed from the nightstand. Denver PD.
Detective Harris.
It's done. Janet Wells is in custody.
A wave of nausea, relief, and guilt crashed over her. She whispered, "Thank you," and the line went dead. By noon, she pressed her palm against the cold glass of the jail's visitor booth. On the other side, Janet glared through the glass, her eyes raw with hatred. She didn't pick up the phone.
Not a word, not an apology. Just fury that she got caught.
That evening, her mother's call finally came. Eleanor's voice was a shattered shriek.
You've killed this family. Your own sister in a cage because of you.
Catherine hung up and sat in her parked car, the phone screen dark, her reflection a stranger. The next morning, a call from the district attorney's office pulled Catherine out of her fog. They needed her statement. In a sterile conference room, the prosecutor spread the Cash App ledger across the table. 31 entries.
Each name a person, each amount a lie she told my face.
In total, Janet Wells collected $7,300 through Cash App, every cent traced to her account.
$7,000. She built a small fortune on my photographs.
That afternoon, Janet's public defender called with an offer, a plea deal, 12 months in county, plus full restitution, in exchange for a letter of leniency from Catherine.
They want me to ask the court for mercy. As if mercy cancels out 31 victims.
She sat with the notebook photos, staring at the names she'd now memorized.
If I sign it, she serves a year. If I don't, she could get 5. Either way, I lose my family.
The following evening, Eleanor showed up unannounced, clutching a worn photo album to her chest.
Look at this. Remember when she was born? You held her for an hour, refused to let go.
Catherine's fingers brushed the plastic sleeve, a needle of memory piercing her resolve.
She made a terrible mistake, but she's still your baby sister. Please, Catherine, write the letter. Give her a chance.
A mistake is getting a parking ticket. She ran a fraud operation for 14 months.
So, you'd rather see her rot in prison? Is that what justice means to you?
No, Mom. Justice means 31 people get their money back, and the person who conned them faces consequences.
Eleanor's hand fell from the album. For a moment, Catherine saw not anger, but raw grief.
I love you, Mom, but I won't be the bridge Janet burns again.
She walked her mother to the door. The photo album left behind on the coffee table. Unclaimed, the trial began on a gray Thursday. Catherine walked to the stand and swore to tell the truth. Across the room, Janet sat in an orange jumpsuit, her eyes fixed on the table in front of her.
He held up his phone. Her face, my smile, but the name read Katie. I knew someone had stolen my identity.
She described the reverse search, the phone directory. The moment she saw her sister's name,
Under her bed, I found a notebook. 31 names, 31 men she'd lied to.
the prosecutor entered the Cash App records into evidence, the $7,300 balance flashing on the screen. Janet's lawyer stood to cross-examine, his voice smooth, accusing Catherine of exaggeration.
I am not exaggerating. I have the screenshots. I have the notebook. The truth is ugly enough.
Janet finally looked up. For a fleeting second, Catherine saw regret. Then the mask hardened again. The testimony stretched into the afternoon. Catherine's voice never wavered, each answer a nail. Catherine stood before the judge, a single page trembling in her hands. This was her chance to speak.
Your Honor, Janet Wells used my face to steal trust and money from 31 innocent people.
At the defense table, Janet's shoulders began to shake. The first tears she'd shed since her arrest.
I asked the court to impose the maximum penalty allowed. She needs to understand the damage she caused.
The judge studied the file, then looked directly at Janet. The courtroom held its breath. He sentenced her to 18 months in state custody, plus full restitution to all 31 victims. Janet's composure shattered. She buried her face in her hands, her quiet sobs echoing in the still room. In the gallery, Eleanor Wells collapsed into her husband's arms, her sobs cutting through the silence. The gavel struck the bench like a thunderclap, sealing the Wells family fracture. With a final, irrevocable crack, Catherine exhaled a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. The battle was over, but the war with her own heart had just begun. Within weeks, the restitution orders began to process. Catherine watched the numbers in the case file turn from red to black.
The 4 who came to your door have been paid in full. We're now tracking down the remaining 27 from the notebook.
Not a single one should be left behind. I can help with addresses if you need.
She spent weekends cross-referencing the notebook photos with public records, mailing checks to men who'd been swindled by her sister's face. A card arrived from a man named Greg. It read, "I never thought I'd get that $200 back. Thank you for doing the right thing."
31 men. Some will never know the real me, but at least they know they weren't the con.
90 days after the sentencing, Catherine met Detective Harris for a final update. The case file was closed.
It feels like it's finally over. The men are whole, and Janet is where she needs to be. But the house still feels empty, and my phone hasn't buzzed with Mom's name in months.
The restitution was complete, but the ledger of her heart still had a column marked family that refused to balance. A pale morning light slanted through the windows when Eleanor Wells knocked at Catherine's door for the final time.
Please, Catherine. I can't lose both my daughters. Can't we just be a family again?
Catherine didn't answer. She walked to the kitchen table and picked up a crisp, folded document.
31 names, Mom. Every man Janet manipulated using my photographs.
Eleanor's eyes swept the page, each name and dollar amount a fresh wound.
Would you like to apologize to each of them on Janet's behalf? I won't excuse what she did.
I can't.
Silence filled the space between them, heavy with years of denial finally dragged into the light. Catherine opened the front door and waited. Eleanor, clutching the list, stumbled out into the daylight. The door clicked shut, and for the first time, Catherine locked it without trembling. One by one, she deleted the old accounts. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Each deletion a quiet funeral for a stolen identity. Then she built new ones. A crisp profile photo, a watermark across her chest. Catherine Wells, original.
Let them try to steal this one. My face, my rules.
She opened the prison email portal and began typing the message she had rehearsed in court. Janet, you used my face to swindle 31 men. I will never speak to you again. Goodbye. She blocked every contact address registered to Janet Wells. No reply would reach her. No plea, no excuse.
The door to that part of my life is welded shut. I'll never be her victim again.
She closed the laptop and leaned back, the quiet house no longer feeling empty but peaceful. Her new online life was watermarked, private, and entirely under her control. The con was over. The victim was gone. Only Catherine remained. Months later, in a park filled with autumn light, Catherine sat on a bench and watched children chase each other.
For so long, I was a victim of her choices. But now I am just a survivor.
She thought of Janet, but only for a moment. The anger had cooled into something distant, like a scar that no longer ached.
I used to think I had to carry the weight of her crimes, but that weight was never mine.
A child's laugh cut through the quiet, and Catherine realized it was the most natural sound she'd heard in years. She no longer defined herself as Janet's sister or a catfish victim. She was simply Catherine Wells.
Maybe one day Mom will understand. Or maybe she won't. Either way, I'll be okay.
She tucked her hands into her jacket pockets and walked the path toward home. Each step lighter than the last, the ordeal was over. Not because justice had been served, but because she had finally set herself free. And, in the quiet of that autumn afternoon, the only name that mattered was her own. A letter arrived on a Tuesday, stamped from the state correctional facility. Janet's handwriting slanted across the envelope.
She wrote, "After everything, she actually thinks I'll open it."
She held the envelope for a long moment, then tore it in half without breaking the seal.
That chapter is closed. I won't let her handwriting pull me back in.
The pieces slid into the trash, Janet's name disappearing between coffee grounds and old receipts. Catherine washed her hands, dried them on a towel, and stepped outside into the bright afternoon.
Some prisons have bars. Others are made of paper. I am free from both.
She didn't look back at the mailbox. She didn't need to. The letter was the last echo of a life she'd already buried, and it meant nothing. Catherine Wells kept walking. Forward, alone, and finally, completely at peace.